Chris Matthews last night has Kevin James, this conservative clown radio host from here in L.A., actually, on his program, and he has Mark Green from Air America Radio on his program. And they're going to talk about if, these charges that Bush is referring to Senator Obama when he talks about appeasers. Now, here's the things you got to look out for. One, this Kevin James guy, I mean, have you ever seen a bigger blowhard? He is representative of all the conservatives that have ever gone on cable news, just yelling and shouting and screaming with absolutely no substance behind it. And then number two, look for how Chris Matthews eviscerates him, pulls his guts out on live TV. God bless. Let's go forward.
Why is Israel now the center of the Republican campaign? What is Israel about here in this presidential campaign? Why the focus on Israel?
It's not that they're the center of the campaign, Chris. It's the 60th. Because you always get me excited, Chris.
Why are you so excited about Israel?
I had to listen to Biden.
How did this become your issue?
Go on about all this political.
No, I'm just curious.
Business.
Why are we turning Israel into Hyde Park Corner, Speaker's Corner? Why is Israel becoming the new podium for political activity? He attacked those who would imitate Senator William Borah of Idaho, who was a Republican isolationist back in the late 30s, who supported some notion of getting along with Hitler better. Let me ask you, what did Chamberlain do wrong, Neville Chamberlain do wrong in 1939? What did he do wrong?
It all goes back to appeasement.
No, what did he do? Tell me what he did.
It's the key term.
You have to answer this question.
What did he do? It's the same thing. It puts it all.
Well, tell me what he did.
About appeasement.
What did Chamberlain do wrong?
His actions enabled, energized, legitimized. It's the exact same.
I'm not going to continue with this interview unless you answer what that thing is. What did Chamberlain do in 39? Tell me.
Chris, it's the exact same thing.
What did he do? What did he do?
What, 38, 39, Chris? What year do you want? It doesn't. It's the exact same thing that happened, Chris.
What did Chamberlain?
He's talking about appeasement.
All right. What did Chamberlain do? Just tell me what he did, Kevin. What did Chamberlain do you didn't like?
Look.
What did he do?
What Chamberlain did what the president was talking about? You just said the president was talking about. You just said the president was talking about Barack. Look,
I want you to tell me, Mister, you're making a reference to the days before our involvement in World War II, when the war in Europe began. I want you to tell me now, as an expert, what did Chamberlain do wrong?
Look, you're not going to box me in here, Chris. President Bush was making that. I'm glad the president.
Do you? You don't know what Neville Chamberlain did in
Neville Chamberlain, he was an appeaser, Chris. He was an appeaser, and it energized and it legitimized.
Kevin James, what did Neville Chamberlain do?
Chris, may I try to answer?
He doesn't know.
Chris,
you are BSing me. You are talking about a very critical point in American history and European history, and you can't tell me what Neville Chamberlain did at Munich. What did he do in 39, 38?
Chris, I wasn't the one that raised the Hitler comment. My point is what President Bush has done, as he has taken this shot across the bow.
You don't know what you're talking about, Kevin.
No, what do you mean I don't know what I'm talking about?
Tell me what Chamberlain did wrong.
Neville Chamberlain was an appeaser, Chris.
What did he do?
Neville Chamberlain was an appeaser, all right?
What did he do?
Neville Chamberlain, his policies, the things that Neville Chamberlain supported, all right, energized, legitimized, and made it easier for Hitler to advance in the ways that he advanced.
I'm sitting here for 5 minutes asking you to say what the president was referring to in 1938 at Munich.
I don't know.
You don't know. Thank you.
Chris, I don't know what the president. I don't know what the president was referring to when he talked about what was being said in 1930 in 1939.
Your problem, Kevin, is you don't know what you're talking about. And the problem is you don't understand there's a difference between talking to the enemy and appeasing. What Neville Chamberlain did wrong, most people would say, is not talking to Hitler, but giving him half of Czechoslovakia in 38. That's what he did wrong, not talking to somebody.
Chris,
appeasement is giving away things to the enemy.
But Chris,
you don't know
there's a difference between...
I got to go to somebody who knows some history. Mark Green, help him out with some history here.
This is pathetic. Kevin, please.
This is pathetic.
Kevin, you should probably be quiet.
What Chamberlain did at Munich.
Kevin, when you're in a hole, stop digging. Chris, the reason
all right, no mas. Oh man, Chris, in one fell swoop, you justified your whole existence, man. I mean, that was nicely done. People counted. He asked them what Neville Chamberlain did 28 times. Okay? And finally, the big blowhard, who I'm going to go over the top on in a second. Did you just go see him going like this? Let me tell you something. He was an appeaser. I was like, oh, okay. Finally, the blowhard says, I don't know. He's like, thank you. I knew you didn't know. And now let's get to the substance of it, because Matthews is exactly right. You know, just to brush up on my history, I went back and read a little bit more about it last night, okay? You know who talked to Adolf Hitler? Everyone did, because he was a giant power in the middle of Europe. The French talked to him, the British talked to him, everybody talked to him. Because what else were we going to do? Ignore the giant 800-pound gorilla in the middle of Europe? The problem wasn't talking to him. The problem was, exactly as Matthew said, letting him, let him go into Austria in the first place and annex it, and then agreeing to a deal where we let him take half of Czechoslovakia. And then by the time he invades Poland, we realize it's too late. Look, should you talk to your enemies throughout history at all times? Of course you should. But beyond that, the question is, judging your enemy correctly and having that right judgment, is this guy out of control? Is he going to be aggressive no matter what? Or are there other ways that we can check our enemies? That's smart diplomacy and figuring that out right or wrong. And Chamberlain figured it out wrong before World War II. And, you know, to be fair to Chamberlain, and everybody rips Chamberlain apart, right? The guy was desperate for peace. And sometimes that doesn't work. And in history proved that his judgment was wrong there, and it didn't work before World War II. All he knows, this idiot, he's been fed his talking point. Call Obama an appeaser, say you never talk to your enemies, and call everybody else a terrorist. Okay? And so he goes out there and he starts yelling his talking points. And my favorite part might have been in the beginning when Matthews is like, why are you yelling? It's true, because this guy came out at like an enormous decibel level instantly. Ay. I mean, so, right there in that one moment, you see what's been happening on television for the last 20 years. Conservative blowhards with nothing to back them up get on TV, yell and scream, and one of the reasons that they are yelling, and I'll give you the answer to that, is because they want to shout over their opponents. They don't want to give their opponents a chance to talk. They want to monopolize the airtime. And in this case, yeah, he didn't give Mark Green much of a chance to talk, to his detriment, because basically they gave him some rope and he hung himself with it. The more airtime he had, the more damage he did to himself. Mark Green nailed it at the end there. When you're in a hole, stop digging, okay?